Hello, I'm David Sanchez, and welcome to a special edition of Breaking the Fourth Wall, where we're going to cover Captain America 2. Spoilers, everybody. Here with me today is one half of Comics Remix, coming from parts unknown, Junior Ruiz. Hey,
what's up?
Have a seat. Yeah, Junior is completely excited. Junior, the Hall of Fame.
Hall of
Fame
Fame
this weekend.
2014 WWE was this past Saturday night. They finally gave Ultimate Warrior his just dues. You know, he was head of the class, along with Mr. T, Lita, Carlos Colon, and Boricuas. Razor Ramon, not Scott Hall.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, because Scott Hall was WCW, or
well, Scott Hall is Razor Ramon.
Yeah, but he.
But when you induct them into the Hall of Fame, you induct them as the person.
Character.
No, you induct them as who they are. Vince decided to induct him as the character because he was a fan of the character, and later on they wanted, after they induct Kevin Nash, or they induct Diesel, then they're gonna induct Kevin Nash and Scott Hall as part of the NWO.
Oh, okay, I see.
So,
good explanation. That was good.
Yeah, and then first inductee announced for the 2015 Hall of Fame. Man, Tony called it out. Mr. T's mama. For those that don't know, go back on the WWE Network and watch Mr. T's induction speech.
Yeah, because I'm lost. It went over my head.
Watch his induction speech. It was hilarious. It went on for so long that they had Kane come out and just basically boot him off the stage.
That's hilarious.
Dude, you should have seen it. It was funny. But no, props to Ultimate Warrior. Oh, and Jake the Snake Roberts, who I think, in my opinion, gave the most heartfelt speech, because he had me all tearing up and shit, man.
We had a chance to work with DDP and Jake the Snake Roberts, solid guys, and we're happy with where both Jake the Snake and Scott Hall are today.
Yeah,
many thanks to DDP for that.
Congrats, guys. But yeah, you know, aside from the WrestleMania weekend and the Hall of Fame, there was also something else that came out the day before the Hall of Fame aired on Saturday, which was Captain America 2: The Winter Soldier.
Yeah, the next phase in the Marvel movie franchises, man. We're going to try to lay it out for you. There will be spoilers. But we're going to try to kind of like piece it out and really dissect this movie.
For sure.
All right, Junior, but real quick, like or disliked overall?
Are we going there? I thought we were going to get in.
No, let's hit it off first.
I loved it. I didn't even like it. I loved it.
Yeah, it was a good movie. It was a good, solid movie. If you're going in there to watch an action movie, you're going to get action plus one.
All weekend, when customers are coming in
11.
and asking me about the movie, this is how I've been describing it. It is a pure action movie in the sense of Die Hard or The Expendables or Rambo or anything like that, just starring superheroes.
Okay, so talking about the action, what do you mean by Rambo?
Well, you know how like Rambo...
Because Rambo killed a lot of people.
Hey, so people died in this
movie. They laid it out.
People died in this movie.
They died comic-wise.
Hey,
you didn't actually see if they got killed.
Okay, Robert Redford's maid. He's like, oh,
all right, she got killed.
She got shot.
Point blank. It was point blank too.
Over a cell phone and a glass of milk.
You know what? Robert Redford's character was really well done. A great acting. Robert Redford, a really solid guy.
I'm glad they went with him and not like a younger, unknown guy.
The action, the type of action you get here would be something that you'd expect from if you're a fan of martial arts movies. If you're a fan of Jason Statham, who we bring up again, we bring up again because these were very well choreographed moves here. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't doubt it. I haven't Googled it. I was actually trying to stay away from Google just so I didn't want my thoughts poisoned by the time this episode came up. But I wouldn't be surprised if George St. Pierre, who also played Batroc, I wouldn't be surprised Batroc if he actually came up and helped with the coordination. Choreography. But it was fantastic.
Yeah, the fight scene, the best fight scene in my opinion that really got like took my breath away was when Cap first encountered Winter Soldier on the street and they're back and forth and he's flipping the knife over and he's like,
you know what? Actually, that knife flip stands out a lot because they focus on it in the trailer a lot.
Yeah.
And you get like that really quick second when he flips the knife right before he hits, but in the movie, we actually see it. It's like the trailer did that scene no justice.
No, totally.
That scene, that little part, that whole flow, the entire flow of that fight scene and every fight scene of that movie was very well done.
Yeah.
It's very well done. All right, Junior, we got through the action, which is basically the whole movie.
From beginning to end.
The helicarriers being torn up and blown up, which, once again, looking at the trailer, I thought immediately, crap, the whole movie was just given away. Watching the movie, I was really surprised why there were so many helicarriers and like how they tied the whole thing up.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me correct you. The helicarrier is the huge base.
Yeah, this is
so this is like the smaller ships that were on the helicarrier.
And see that whole explanation of it, how there was mini helicarriers and what they planned to do with them was fantastic. All right, the HYDRA factor.
Dude, that came out of left field. I did not.
That came out of left field, man.
I did not expect that. I was really glad that they brought that back in. You know, because you're like, okay, who's the villain? Oh, it's just Winter Soldier. But the way they tied it into HYDRA and HYDRA still being around and HYDRA, obviously spoilers, infiltrating S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
I thought that was great. One of the internet rumors that I heard, or not even a rumor, but one of the ones that a lot of fans were saying, well, I thought this was going to happen, was Robert Redford pulling off his face and revealed that he was the Red Skull, which I'm glad did not happen.
Solid storytelling here, actually. Solid storytelling because they really tied it in. Marvel really parades itself by being really tied into what's happening now in our society. One of the best pieces of storytelling is the fact that they brought in HYDRA. HYDRA poisoned S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
And it's because of S.H.I.E.L.D. that we live in chaos. Because in order to bring in a people and to control the people, you have to take away their freedom, but they have to give it away willingly. In order to do that, you create a chaotic world, and it just blows your mind. It was like, whoa.
It was one twist after another. Like when you thought you knew what was going on, they just kind of took you on a roller coaster ride and changed everything on you. And I thought it was very well done. One of the big ones that got me was what's his name? The guy who plays the senator. He was in Iron Man 2.
Oh yeah, Jerry. I always want to say Schindler. Jerry Schindler. He used to have his HBO specials. That's the guy you want to talk about, right?
Yeah.
Old school comedian, yeah.
Where he was the congressman, I think, the senator.
Yeah.
In Iron Man 2.
He was actually
he was a HYDRA agent. Yeah.
He was a HYDRA agent, man.
That threw me for a loop. I was like, whoa, Gary Shandling.
Gary Shandling. Thank you very much.
Gary
Shandling.
He was all like, Hail HYDRA. I was like, whoa, I didn't know he was an HYDRA agent. That was awesome.
All right. The MODOK factor.
MODOK wasn't in the movie.
He was on the screen, remember?
ARNIM ZOLA.
ARNIM ZOLA, but it was like giving
that was like, ARNIM ZOLA. That was not MODOK.
But it was giving you like this hint, like that this guy might come up, like bringing him.
No,
MODOK.
that was him.
Really?
That was ARNIM ZOLA. That was not MODOK.
See, that's what I get for not Googling.
MODOK is more of an Iron Man villain. He's the AIM.
In my mind, when I first saw it, I was thinking like, "Oh my God, will they tie it into Iron Man and then start bringing in things?"
No, that's just like fan speculation.
Because to me, I got the visual. I got this visual of MODOK in my head, and I was thinking like, okay, they got the Hive going on, and they got HYDRA coming back in. Well, how are they gonna tie these things together and bring in Cap and Iron Man together?
I like your way of thinking, but no.
That's just the way I think.
It was ARNIM ZOLA. In the first Cap movie, they were showed a foreshadowing of what was going, because when they first showed him, he was behind the big magnifying glass, remember?
Yeah.
So in this movie, they had it set perfectly because the face is in the stomach, whereas the head is usually just like a monitor or a camera or something, and they set it perfect.
I'm still taking the visual detail out of it, and I think we're being given clues to what's going to happen next.
Well, yeah, it was ARNIM ZOLA.
What other Easter eggs did you see over there?
The Doctor Strange.
Name was dropped.
The name dropped. So
he was dropped as a problematic factor to HYDRA.
Along with Bruce Banner and who was the other one that they said? There was 3 names. What? Oh, it was Steve Rogers.
It was Steve Rogers. Yeah.
Steve Rogers and S.H.I.E.L.D. But yeah, so that kind of solidified the fact that Marvel is indeed gonna go ahead with the Doctor Strange film. Otherwise, why name drop him?
Yeah, well, they already announced it. It was already confirmed a long time ago. I'm still holding my ground and hoping that it's not Johnny Depp. He's done horrible movies as of late. Rum Diaries suck, and now he's doing the Lawnmower Man movie, Transcendent, whatever. Anyways, that's up for a different discussion.
You love the Lone Ranger.
Oh. What else did you catch on there?
The Avengers Tower. Did you catch that?
I did. Yes, I did.
I can't wait for that Blu-ray to be out because that's something that I want to pause during that scene, because in all these comic book movies, whenever there's a computer on the screen and there's all these words, there's always something there,
And that's the next big step. I mean, Shield pretty much dies in this movie.
Yeah.
Shield is pretty much over.
So what happens to the TV show? With 6 episodes left.
Do they become renegades now on the road again? I keep having these discussions about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Am I really disappointed that they're being like that?
Well, in the last, I've been reading in the last few episodes, they've like really picked up the pace, and people are like, "Wow, maybe we should have given this thing a chance." Now, on their behalf, they should have picked up the pace a little bit sooner. Time ago. But now it's starting to come. It's starting to be what it's supposed to be.
But in the movies, I'm excited because without them being there, it really solidifies the fact that Avengers Tower / Mansion, or however you want to word, like that has to exist.
Yeah,
that has to exist now. Acting.
There was one more Easter egg. I don't know if you caught it.
No,
a lot of people didn't catch it.
I think I missed it.
Well, it was one of those that for those of you who have seen Pulp Fiction, okay, this is brought to my attention. So if it's not true, I apologize, but I would know if I go back and watch the movie. For those who've seen Pulp Fiction, Samuel Jackson's character in Pulp Fiction was always quoting Ezekiel before he killed somebody. The quote on Nick Fury's tombstone at the end is the Ezekiel quote.
I did not read it. Oh, snaps.
That's what I was told. I gotta watch the movie again to double check.
Oh, now we gotta watch the movie again.
Another excuse to go watch the movie.
Hey, you know what? I was actually going to go into the acting because I would have to say, bro, this is not the best. You don't go in here expecting a great, like, well acted movie. The best acting, that, from my point of view, was from Robert Redford, and actually Evans was very good.
He stepped it up.
Sam Jackson, you're not going to get a Sam Jackson character. Actually, I didn't think he had the strongest acting at all, especially that scene with Scarlett Johansson.
He's not allowed to swear.
No. Not even that. The whole scene with Scarlett Johansson where like she's dying, that was super cheesy. That was actually that was not the most well executed.
Towards the end,
the guy who plays Falcon,
just because she gave herself the stinger.
No. I'm talking about the acting where he's like Scarlett, like don't die. It's very cheesy.
Scarlett.
Whatever, but it's very hokey. It's very hokey the way it's done. The guy who plays Falcon, he can't move his body and talk at the same time. He can't. Dude can't. I'm sorry.
I thought he did a good job.
That's the good place trophy.
after seeing his
like good effort, kid.
After seeing the Falcon in the movie, I've got to say I'm a little upset at Hasbro for not giving us a Falcon action figure.
You raised that point
in the Marvel Legends Infinite series. I didn't need a Baron Zemo. I didn't need an AIM soldier. Yep. You could have gave me a Falcon. Especially if it's supposed to be a movie tie-in line. Why the hell not?
I agree. One point that I made after the movie. When I was in the car with HYDRA, we're driving back home, I was thinking, you know what, this Falcon guy, he probably wasn't the greatest actor. At some points, he did look awkward with the wings, but I could see how that idea could translate later into an Archangel character. And once again, that's my imagine kind of taking it a little too far, but I do imagine that we will one day live in a better world where Marvel has control of its X-Men characters.
Never be world peace.
And Archangel being one of my most favorite characters ever created. If Marvel ever gets their hands on Archangel again, I could imagine him existing now. Because X-Men 3, the guy with the wings, that sucked. Actually, I really like the possibilities of what Falcon brought to the table. And even well stated when Falcon was fighting that guy. Okay. Remember at the end, at the very end.
You know who that is, right?
Please tell me, because that was actually going to be my question.
Crossbones.
Oh my God! I was trying to figure out, because they gave him his little scene. He fought, he got burned up, but they gave him his scene, oh, watch out, he's still alive, guys.
Crossbones.
Cool, man.
You know what I thought? One thing I pointed out, I don't know.
Thanks for clarifying that.
Marvel just, with Captain America 2, they just proved that you can have multiple villains in a movie and make it work, unlike Sony with the Spider-Man 3, and who knows how Amazing Spider-Man 2 is going to turn out with all these villains. But think about it: you had Batroc,
yep.
You had the Winter Soldier, you had Crossbones, you had Robert Redford, you had ARNIM, ZOLA. It's 5 villains,
and you still had a bunch of HYDRA guys.
5 villains, 5 that had their own little piece there.
Because of the layering, man. There wasn't an ego.
Well, see, that's my point.
They were properly layered.
That's my point, though. You properly layer 5 villains in a movie. Spider-Man couldn't do 3.
just because you have 3 villains doesn't mean that they all have to be like superstars.
Exactly.
They have to play their role.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I think Sony, with upcoming Amazing Spider-Man 2, I mean, obviously it'd probably be too late for that because it comes out in a month, but I hope they take a cue out of Marvel's hat and, say, hey, this is the proper way to do it, and they don't bog us down. Because Amazing Spider-Man 2, I mean, they got the main villain being Electro, but then you see all the fight scenes with the Green Goblin, who was just introduced in this movie as Harry Osborn, and then god-awful Megazord-looking Rhino outfit.
Yeah. One thing throughout the movie, pretty much Captain America, he's the fugitive. He's Harrison Ford. Yeah. He is the fugitive. Yeah. He's running around, and trying to escape. And that leads to some of the funnier scenes between him and Black Widow. To me, one of the best scenes at the movie was when that whole fugitive stuff kind of climaxes, and he redeems himself. I'm here to save you guys. He announces over on the overhead on the SHIELD headquarters, like, I'm actually here to save you. One of the best scenes was Captain's orders, where the people who chose to be heroes.
Yeah.
And like and to me that overshadowed, maybe Captain is gonna be the guy who brings back SHIELD and brings it all back. But that was also a very epic scene. The guy at the computer, the nerd, the hacker.
He's like, I'm not going to do it.
I'm not going to do it. And other people were just like, Captain's orders.
See, now I want to talk about some of the minor characters in the movie. What did you think of Agent Carter? Agent 13. The neighbor?
Oh, yeah. You know what? Once again, I think that goes into layering.
Okay.
And that she played a perfect role, and now you're like, what is she going to do next?
To me, I agree with you, but I'm like, in terms of look, I think she looked way too young.
Really? I think that's fine.
I don't know.
I think movies need younger characters now. Because this is a new generation.
That's true.
Isn't that the reason things get revamped? Things get revamped for new audiences. They shouldn't get revamped every month.
Yeah.
Okay.
What I do think, though, speaking of younger stars, and I kind of agree with the internet community, how they say, in order to do in order to pay Spider-Man justice.
Hey, you just can't get out of Spider-Man.
I'm sorry,
no,
dude, but
you really love Spider-Man.
But you know what? It comes up with what we're talking about, though. They should take the Harry Potter approach to it. And what I mean by that is, you cast a young kid, because Peter was, 14, 15 when he was bitten.
His best stories were his high school years.
Yeah, so you cast a young kid, literally, and then as the movies go, you grow with him. You know what I mean? The way they did Harry Potter.
Yeah.
That would work, because that, in essence, is who Spider-Man is. And that's what all of the internet fans are like, yeah, that's what they should do. I don't see why they wouldn't.
Yeah.
I think it'd work better that way.
And that's one of the things why, Agent Carter's fine being a young person.
I don't know. I just okay.
Okay, if you want to talk about that, want to pick out certain characters.
Who we got? We bring.
There's the Council. Okay. The Council that always interacts with whoever is in charge of SHIELD.
Yeah.
Which,
I'm surprised that they revealed them.
But wait, hold on. There's either Robert Redford or it's Sam Jackson that they talk to, right?
Right.
There is the lady on the Council. What's her name?
The older lady. I don't know their names.
Now, at the end of the movie, there's a ploy where Robert Redford's character, because I just like calling him Robert Redford, he sets up the Council. He makes them put on these pins, which eventually they turn out to be explosives.
That was cool.
And he uses that to hold that's his trump card.
Yeah.
If the Council doesn't go his way, he'll blow a hole through their chest.
But it was given to them as what, like security badges?
They're security clearance badges. So they had to put them on. They weren't told this is a trap. Put it on. They had to put them on.
This is a trap. Now, it's a trap.
In classic Fury, he saw it coming. Whatever. And it turns out Scarlett Johansson's character, Black Widow,
I see it from a mile away.
Yeah. It turns out she was the female councilwoman in disguise. She had her mask on. She comes out and she's like, "Oh, I got you now."
Yeah.
Double cross, whatever.
Word.
Now the question is, what if Black Widow was always that character?
That councilwoman?
Yeah.
Nah. Because there's been times where Black Widow's out on a mission, but yet they're always talking to the council and stuff.
So, but you could those councils, they're always like video images. You could just set yourself up.
I think you're just far-fetching now. Like, you're just kind of shooting out there.
No, because the technology that's presented in comic books You could just say your voice and then an image would appear. You could program an image to appear for you.
Nah.
All right, hey, if it comes up, I called it.
All right, but no.
You can't say no because it's comic books.
I said no.
You can't say no because it's comic books.
So?
It's comic books, man.
Well, we're not talking comics. We're talking a movie.
Based off fucking comic books, man.
Whatever. Now, let's hit him up. I mean, we haven't really discussed him much, but the Winter Soldier himself, Sebastian Stan. What did you think?
He was really well done, really well executed. Actually,
dude, I thought he was a fucking badass.
My favorite part of the Winter Soldier was actually his arm.
Yeah.
Doing like mechanical body parts in any movie always.
Cable could work now.
Well, that's just it. Those always seem awkward in any movie. You can look at the X-Men movies. Anybody that had a mechanical body part, well, that character probably didn't even exist in the movie.
No,
because it's
Colossus was probably the closest.
It was always so awkward. But the details put into this arm were just fantastic.
Well, I mean, after the details they put in like movies like Iron Man's armor or in Transformers and stuff, I wouldn't see why.
Yeah, man, and and actually that got me thinking. You pointed out Cable. I want to see Cable. I want to see Forge. I want to see anybody who had mechanical body part
like
to be in a movie.
X-Force?
The handicapped X-Men, the special X-Men. Those guys had to exist now. Boom.
We love all people here on Comics Remix. We're not pointing out anybody
with any physical disabilities or anything like that.
We just did.
I meant in terms of fans. Because you're like, I want to see my special X-Men, like...
Don't try to backtrack.
I'm not backtracking, you said it.
But no one... Well, we didn't say anything insulting.
I hope not. We'll know when this episode airs.
Whatever, man. Whatever. Anyways.
I'm telling you, load up the rocket ship with the space fuel.
Making a Ultimate Warrior quote doesn't get you out of every situation, Junior. All right, man. So Bucky was actually very well done. It does get kind of weird when I saw visually like that whole behind the scenes thing where he had to report to Robert Redford and he was like sitting on that that brainwashing chair.
Yeah.
I didn't actually read the Winter Soldier any of that in the comic book.
You should.
Is that
the hardcover?
Does that actually relate? Like, does that tie in any way?
Yeah, it was pretty much the impression that like that's what they would do. They would constantly brainwash him into doing their missions. Like, oh, you got another mission. We're wiping your memory. Here, go on the mission.
Okay, so when it comes to the comics, the Winter Soldier in books, and
the only difference was, if I'm correct, it wasn't HYDRA that was controlling him because he had the Soviet star. It was the Soviets and the Russians that were controlling Winter Soldier, not HYDRA. But I mean, it still worked. It still clicked.
I did think that was weird because he had the big old red A.
Yeah,
red star, red A. He had the big old red star, and yeah, he worked for HYDRA.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that didn't bother you at all.
Nah.
It's like, why not just put the HYDRA symbol on there?
Yeah. Didn't bug me. It's one of those small nuisances, you know.
Okay, is it a small nuisance? Not seriously. Is it a small nuisance, or is this going to become one of those continuity arguments?
I don't know. It didn't bother me until you just pointed it out.
Yeah.
I still have no issue with it. But let's talk. Okay, we talked the movie. Let's talk the end credits.
The end credits.
Both. Let's start with the mid credit.
The mid credit, you get a scene where it turns out that the staff from the Avengers movie has been recovered. Can you play out that scene for us, Junior?
I was like, wait, what are you talking about? Basically, we're shown you're in a HYDRA underground lair, and Baron von Strucker is talking about some of the power that they still have and some of the cards that HYDRA still holds because they somehow got a hold of the Loki staff from Avengers with the Tesseract in it, which I was reading.
Tesseract.
Fucking Infinity Gem.
Yeah.
The cube, the cosmic cube, because that's what that was. That was the cosmic cube. Supposedly it was delivered to them by Thanos as a gift, I guess, for whatever they've got planned. I've read that online because who else had it? It was Loki's.
Now you're making me want to rewatch it because you just said that Tesseract is a cosmic cube. But there was also a cutscene where it was already revealed that the cosmic cube existed on its own. And the staff was given to Loki in outer space.
Right, when it was given to him, they took the cube, because remember in Avengers, he takes the cube. At the beginning of the Avengers movie, remember they're doing the tests, and he comes in through the portal and he takes the cube, and that's when he puts Hawkeye under his control.
Yeah, but the cube didn't exist in the staff.
No, that's what I'm saying. He had the staff. The staff at the end of Captain America had the cube in it.
Are you sure?
Yes.
All right.
It had the cube in it.
Okay, I'm gonna play along right now. I'm gonna play along right now.
That's why it's just a staff. But when they added with the cube is what gave it the power. So when they had it on display, it was facing up with the blue orb, the cube glowing right then and there. And that's when Baron von Strucker was like, oh, we still have cards to play or whatever the hell he said, and then that's when they start talking about the volunteers.
How? But isn't that weird? Wasn't the Tesseract already recovered at the end of Avengers 1? How did no one think to look for it?
Maybe it was. They never touched upon it. Because they showed up. Remember, Loki had the staff, and all the Avengers were like, "You're gonna make a move or whatever."
Because I remember
when
they
took Loki, but they didn't really reveal.
Just from memory, I remember when.
Or what? No, you're right. Yeah. Thor had it. Thor took it back to Asgard.
Two separate entities, dude. The cube and the staff.
No. Now you're getting okay. I see what's going on. No. The cosmic cube itself was never mentioned in the movies. It's a comic book thing.
But it was shown in one of the cutscenes.
In the first Captain America movie. Red Skull had the Tesseract, which is the Cosmic Cube. They just don't call it the Cosmic Cube in the movies. Instead, they decided to call it the fucking...
Look, just explain the cutscene.
I'm trying to explain this to you.
Baron
von Strucker.
He shows that they still have the staff, which to me is weird.
With the Tesseract,
that was kind of looked over. After Avengers 1, like no one looked for the staff.
Well, no, see that's
because supposedly I guess they just assumed that it was destroyed.
Maybe I'm just not explaining it right. Okay, the Avengers movie. At the end of Avengers 1, Loki has the staff with the cube, the cube, the Tesseract, whatever. It's the same thing. He's got it. The Avengers take him to jail, or they take him away. But Thor ends up taking him back to Asgard. Remember? And in the possession, Thor has the cube. Who cares about the staff? It's just a generic staff. They just put the cube in it. That's what gives it the power. He takes it back to Asgard. We don't know how Baron von Strucker got a hold of it from Asgard to there.
Okay. All right.
That's the thing. Thor took it back because it's an Asgardian thing. That they know of. It's actually an Infinity Gem. But so the transition between Thor taking it to Asgard in Avengers 1 versus the cutscene of Cap 2, we don't know how they got a hold of it. You have to assume they had some help.
And then the second cutscene after that was Bucky. Okay, in the movie,
skipped the whole part of the first cutscene.
But that was the main point.
It wasn't to introduce Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver?
Oh, duh. Oh, I'm sorry. I totally messed that up. Yes. Which actually they look very cool. They look. I think the pictures that are floating around of Quicksilver.
They don't do it justice.
No, I think the way Quicksilver.
He looks like Trey Parker, the creator of South Park.
But that's just it. What he's shown now, how he's shown in the pictures, I'm pretty sure that's all going to be CGI'd over. I think that's the guy's workout clothes.
You'd hope.
I think that's like his stunt clothes.
Well, I will say it looks way better than it does.
Yeah,
for the
how it
X-Men
looks
movies.
in the cutscene, it looks a lot better, and I really think that. Now how I'm imagining this is like while he runs, he's probably gonna have some kind of a glow or something, some kind of effect.
Of course.
So don't go by the pictures. Scarlet Witch looks scary as hell. She looks like one of those crazy white girls. I'm just gonna say it right now, man. I'm just gonna say if you're Hispanic, African American, whatever, crazy white girl, this is her. Y'all better watch out.
But no, that was besides showing that they had the staff and the cube. The main point of that was to show the introduction of Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, who, it turns out, are experiments. Obviously, they can't go the mutant route, but they said, they had the cube, I believe, I might be wrong, but I want to say it was, they were using the power of the cube to help fuel these experiments. And remember, he's like, what do we do with the volunteers who died? He's like, we buried them very, very deep. He's like, and what about the ones that lived? And then that's when they showed Scarlet Witch.
I don't think it was experiments with the cube. They could have been experiments with anything. It's like HYDRA's. They're like the Nazis. They could have experimented with the super soldier serum.
True.
That's how they created Bucky. They made their own version of it.
What they should do, and I've heard rumors that this is what they're gonna do because Marvel doesn't have the X-Men stuff.
I was gonna say
what's the next best thing besides the X-Men in terms of mutant-ish stuff?
Enhancements.
No. Well, yes and no. The Inhumans. Marvel's been planning on doing Inhumans thing, which is why now in the comic books the Inhumans are taking forefront to everything.
Yeah, Inhumanity. Because that'll probably come after this whole Ultron.
Because you got to remember how everything ties in. Quicksilver marries Crystal, who is an Inhuman, who is the sister of Medusa, who is the queen of the Inhumans.
So moving away from that end credit, basically Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver look badass. People stop looking at those photos floating around the internet. Moving on to the second end credit, we're giving Bucky. Within the movie, in a good part, a side story is that people are giving praise to the fact that Captain America is back in a museum in Washington, D.C., the Smithsonian. There's a whole gallery, there's a whole exhibition dedicated to Captain America, vintage Captain America, and the Howling Commandos. And they talk about the history. Within there,
Christ, you got that name.
There's a personal display just for Bucky.
Mm-hmm.
Bucky whatever.
Yeah, Bucky Barnes.
Yeah, Bucky Barnes. It's kind of like a memorial for him. In the second cutscene, Junior, what happened?
Basically, a lot of people were thinking the second cutscene was gonna be like a joke, like how the Avengers with the Ishwarma and everything like that. No, it's
Thor 2.
Yeah. So this one is pretty much it's more of a, I don't want to say sentimental. It's an emotional scene because it proves A, that Winter Soldier, you haven't seen the last of him, and B, he kind of realizes the Cap was telling the truth. So as Winter Soldier, he's got his hoodie on and he's in the museum and he sees the memorial dedicated to Bucky Barnes, and he's like, you can see the look on his face, like, there's more here than I thought, what's been going on. So now he's got to find out the truth and what, Don't forget, Sebastian Stan signed in for like another 8 or 9 movies.
Yeah. So I mean, in the movie, at the end of the very last fight with Captain America and Bucky actually saves Captain America, who could have possibly have drowned because he took a couple of gunshots. Credit to Bucky.
I'm gonna shoot you, but I'm gonna save you.
Even if he didn't stay for the end credits, you get the idea that Bucky he's gonna go through this whole emotional thing where he's gonna go through his own personal road and figure out that he's actually a good guy. But the second end credit gives more credit to that. It gives credit to the fact that he may lead to the side of good, but now we're introduced to a variable. Mm-hmm. Where is Bucky gonna pop up next?
And who the hell doesn't stay for Marvel end credit scenes anymore? People, this is nothing new. You don't get up at a comic book movie until the lights turn on.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, but this one probably could have been missed. This one, like, it's a Marvel.
No.
It was blah.
You should just know by now.
It was
regardless of what the scene was. You just know not to miss it.
But see, you already figured that out by the end of the movie. Something like that.
But it's more like we figured it out easier because we know we're comic guys. Whereas the casual fan, like my mom, she wouldn't fucking know. She'd have to sit there and like, oh.
No. I mean, with the point of the second end credit, you get that point by the end of the movie.
Right. Well, you kind of do. You kind of do. Like I said, we know more because we read the comics.
No, that has nothing with that. That has nothing to do. If you're following along with the story, you kind of get like, okay, now he's a good guy.
Kinda.
No, it doesn't. It's
because
not complicated.
He never sat there and said,
That's a classic ending that you've gotten.
You're like, okay, is he? Isn't he? And then when you see that. Like it was the emotion more on his face seeing the memorial, because now he's all like, oh shit, you can see like Cap was right, so that kind of sways the thing.
I still didn't think it was necessary overall. So we picked on the movie, we picked it apart, we picked on the end credits, and the possibilities and repercussions for the next coming up movies. Junior, 4-star rating. What did you give it?
3.5.
Give it a 3. Yeah, great action. You get what you paid for, especially if you see it in IMAX. I believe the IMAX and the 3D play heavily onto this, because if you watch it in a regular setting, and you have to pay more attention to the acting, you're not. I don't think it's going to be such a great experience.
Really quick, on a side note, if you had to pick one pet peeve about the movie, what would you pick?
Oh, the acting. But it's an action movie.
That's
just it. You see, it's an action movie.
Did you pick up on the blatant Chevy product placements in the movie?
That's going to be in most movies now.
But this was kind of a little bit heavier.
Because then you could say the same thing about Transformers.
Well, how they got the bigger
contract. Yeah, no, that's not going to end.
That's like watching the Turtles and seeing, turtle food product placement.
Ever since what happened with Acura in the first Iron Man movie, remember when they actually had to take out their car logos because they didn't pay to play? Mm-hmm. They figured out how much of a loss they took from not putting up their logos, that's not gonna happen anymore. Automotive companies are gonna pick up a lot more of these contracts.
I'll go buy a Suburban if I get the same one that Sam Jackson had.
Yeah, you add in the Iron Man 1 factor and also the Michael Bay factor about how he over stylizes vehicles, not just because of Transformers. More automotive companies, they're gonna put bigger bids to be in these movies. So that annoyed you.
Well, regardless, I say Captain America 2: The Winter Soldier once again. 3.5 stars. David, go ahead.
3.
Said, 3.
3, and yeah, thank you very much for watching this episode, guys.
Tune in next week. Well, we will. That's right. That's how excited I am. You're just gonna have to tune in and watch. Peace.
Thank you.